record. True? Right. I start record, then I go on my Git. I go on my Git here, GitHub. Then I create a new repo, repository name. Application meta contract farming. Right? Then let's make it public. Then let's create a repository. Then it creates a good name for us, contractfarm.git. Perfect. Right. After creating that, I don't know if you guys are still seeing my screen. Confirm if you are not. You come here and
seeing a white screen.
You're seeing a white screen?
Yes. Yeah, now we can see your browser screen.
Then I'm going to Spring Initializer. Then, as we did the data time, we do com.cb, the company is Kelly Brasses. Then the name of the artifact is contract farming, right? Then a description is right. Then our Java version is Java version 8. So here, guys, what we are creating here is called the Maven Project. So Maven is sort of a Java project management tool that helps you create and manipulate your project file. So you will see that whenever we go, we will need certain existing Java files Java files that we need to maybe manipulate, let's say a date or something that do Lombok functions and stuff like that. So all those dependents, to integrate them into your application, you need Maven to do that for you. In the good old days, you would actually manually go on internet, search for this, add your jar into your class paths, then start using it. But now, thanks to Maven, we can actually use out of the box dependencies into our projects, right? So watch me here, click the button to add dependencies. If you click this button, then you'll see a whole list of dependencies. Then the first dependence that you need to add into your project is what is called Spring Web. Spring Web allow you to create RESTful APIs or RESTful application. When we say RESTful, we are just saying it's a REST-based architecture where we create a web service to save data in the database, to retrieve data in the database, or from an external application. The approach or the architectural style that we are going to be using is called RESTful application, right? So the second dependence that you need to add is Mysql Driver. Mysql Driver allows you to connect to database. You know, the noise that we have in the other time is because of Mysql Driver. It was because of Mysql Driver. It was sort of refusing to connect and stuff like that. Then me, I'll choose Lombok as it appears here, because Lombok helps you to reduce boilerplate things such as constructors, getters, and setters, and stuff like that. Then Spring Boot DevTools allows you to maximize your development. It's just a set of development tools that you can use to do during the development of a project. Right? What else do I need here? I think I need JPA, Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA will help us connect to our database at any point in time. Let's say we want to fetch our farmer, and also that process of creating entities in the database when you create your class in your application. That's what Spring Data JPA will help you with. Any questions before we go any further?
Yeah, it's clear.
It's clear. Right. So
Okay,
in terms of a grouping, it's sort of the naming approach which Java convention uses to create your project. So this group one.
Sorry, Mr. Mpare, I have a question I want to ask.
Oh, you can ask.
Per my SQL
Look
driver,
vulnerable,
is
look
it
vulnerable.
per my SQL driver? Is it the same as the connector Java? I don't know download per my SQL. Is it the same?
Yes, it's the same. But see now.
Oh, it's the same.
Yes. So this one is.
That opens go.
Hello.
Fritzard opens.
Oh, Fritzard opens. I don't know which don't think the same one. Right. So I don't know if the recording that I'm doing is going to be coming out perfectly well, but I just hope so. Mistakenly I had right. It's a good process to redo again. So here I'm gonna say cd, then contract farming. These guys, we talked about it, just a naming convention. Then packaging, you can either deploy your application as a jar or a WAR file. So here you choose jar because I prefer jar because jars are easy to use. And also, if you are going to use a WAR file, then you need Tomcat or Glassfish to execute your application in a server environment. Exactly.
Ndinobvunza kuti apa nditi we are seeing a Maven project, right?
Yes.
But I think I recorded the last time you built with Grado, is it, or it was Java? What did you use to build? Or that's a different thing?
No, I used the Maven project. If you remember, I was using Maven to clean and build the application.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But if you choose Gradle, then you need to install Gradle on your machine. All these things, they do the same thing, but Maven is the most used. So if you're likely to get a challenge with Maven, then many people would want to help you. But if you're going to the Gradle way, it means me, I don't use you, and many million other people doesn't really know what's the issue.
Oh.
Yes. Any other question? Then packaging, jar files, you can just run jar negative jar. You will see when you deploy. Yeah, it's just jar negative. What. Then you run a command, then it starts running. Like you run a command in your command prompt, then you install your software runs. As long as you have jar on that machine, your application can run in the background. But with WA now, you need Tomcat or Glassfish or any other web application software that can help you to install and run that kind of an application. Any questions? So here I'm now adding my dependence. Spring Web, then you need to end Lombok, then I added Lombok, JPA, then MySQL Driver, then I don't want to add Spring Security because you may face issues during development. So for now, let's go with these dependencies. If we feel we need other things, I will show you other ways of actually adding those dependencies. Then I'll move my bar here and click generate. So if you feel you are done here, then you click generate. Generate, then it will save the application on your local machine. Then my application is downloaded. Then I show it in Finder. I don't know if you guys are now seeing this, but then on my desktop, now, I'm gonna create a create a folder, then I'm gonna rename right. Then I'm gonna look for the file. I can see it. So then I put my project inside there. Let me stop share. Then I share my desktop. It seems like with Zoom, you can't share your desktop. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open a command prompt. Then I share this thing. So you guys can see this thing, right? I'm gonna right in this, I'm gonna do this desktop. Then I'm on my desktop. Then on my desktop, I created a folder. CD farm. Then I enter this one. Then after that, then CD contract farming. Then initialize the Git repository. Then at this point in time, I would want to open my IntelliJ. Then I'll say file close in window. File close project. Then okay. Then I share with you guys. This is my IntelliJ. Then here I import a project. Then we are on desktop. Let's show you. Yes, this is my desktop. Then on my desktop, I have this folder. Then we have this project of ours. Then we open it. Then we share it in IntelliJ. Then it will give you this kind of a pretty screen. So with this pretty screen here, if you are using Gradle, then you import using Gradle, but we are using Maven. So you select Maven, then you click finish. Then it will start to import the project and import the project dependencies. Then from here, I hope you guys are seeing. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are seeing.
You are seeing, right? So from my right here, you can see there's a panel that comes up as Maven. Let me just do this so that you guys can see it. If you are not able to see it, it's just this panel, right? You click this panel and pops up this screen. Then the first things that you want to do here is to just do a clean. So Maven can also be run as a command like git, but you can also use IntelliJ to clean. So if you run clean, then it cleans your project. Then you can also do package. Package is like compiling all of the things that it has into one package. Then after it compiles, you can see at the bottom here, it runs sort of a ticks that shows that your project is correct. It uses what is called the POM file to run all these tests and stuff like that. It will run also Spring test to test if everything is okay. But likely our test for the first time is going to fail because we haven't provided a database configuration, so it will fail. Then if you run an install, it will generate a jar file for you so that you can actually run it. So what I usually do here, I put an edit configuration here. Then I put I select Maven from here. It should be something called Maven, but not seeing it here. So guys, can you see Maven here? Right, Maven here. So if you select Maven, then it will give you something like this. So instead of running mvn clean package install negative this keep test, we go to true. Right. So if you do something like this, would do something like this is the equal side of saying, I think I need to select, you need to select it here, desktop farming and stuff like that. If it doesn't select by default. When you apply, you click OK, right? So if you do that, it means that next time you try to run to do Maven clean and install, negative this skip test. It's like when you run this, skip my test. This will do the same thing. There's something wrong here. So let me then clean. Then install. Clean install are good enough for you if you are in development mode. So I don't know if so far we have any question. Don't worry about the test that fails. I'm gonna sort it out in the next lecture. Guys, can you ask question?
Me, I'm going to the question I've understood. So.
Yeah, I think just don't this is about configuration zamaro Maven skip what.
Okay. So let's talk about it. So you guys should know Maven is like something that you can, yeah, it has got a list of commands that you can use. Let's say you want to create a jar file. You can run Maven mvn install. It will take all the raw of your project and generate a jar file for you. So let's say you are done developing this project, then you want to deploy it. You can run mvn clean, mvn package, mvn install. Then it will create in your folder system, it will generate a jar file that you can copy, paste it on a server. After pasting it on a server, you run your command jar, negative jar, then application name, then enter. Then it will run. You can do that, then it runs, then your application is said to be hosted, right? So let's say you want to generate a WAR file after developing it using as a jar file, then you can also package it. Maven clean package application name .war, then it will generate a WAR file for you. After it has generated the WAR file for you, you take it, you install it in, you put it in Tomcat server, then you deploy it. So that's generally what it is. But as we go, I'll always show you how to play out with this Maven thing. But generally, it is a lifestyle where you can clean, validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, site, deploy. all the life cycle of a project, you can do it with Maven. Then the other thing that you may need to know is that all the dependencies that we're adding are in here. You guys can see that there's a section called dependencies where you actually add your dependencies to your project, or where your dependencies are added to the project. So this is the list of the dependencies that we have so far. We have added Spring Boot, Spring Data JPA, Spring Web, Spring Boot DevTools, MySQL Connector, Project Lombok, Spring Boot Starter for testing. This comes by default in Spring Boot. This is what we use for testing. But in terms of testing, you can use Mockito, JUnit, TestNG, and stuff like that. There are so many software tools that you can use for testing. Testing is very important. I couldn't emphasize it more, but we're going to be running tests, and you see how wonderful tests are in the development of a project. So the other thing that you may want to know also is that here is where your project files are. So all the Maven thing, the project structure goes on like this. There is the idea part, which contains sort of the IntelliJ idea settings. Then we have the Maven wrapper. It also used by Maven to track your project. Then the source, or the SRC, the source is where your source files are. And in the main Java is where your packaging becomes. So here where you say group com CB, contract farming, is the location or the place where you now put your packages in, so that you can continuously develop your project. So there's no way we wouldn't want people to come here and add something in test. So in this place, you can only add test, but in this source, locate the source, locate the main, locate the Java, locate the default packaging system. Anyone speaking? So
I think we are.
So inside this that's where you put your packages. So this also helps you, but the only thing that you may need here in resources, that's where you put things like pictures, JSON files, and some other related resources that you may want your application to use. But for now, the most important thing that you may need is the application.properties. The application.properties is sort of the file that is used to insert your configuration settings for connection to databases or other settings that we may want to use. We may decide to say we would want to use port 8081 or 8085 for the reasons that we may have something that's running on port 8080. Then we can set all those properties inside this application.properties. So you can also see if you didn't commit anything in a Git repository that is initialized, it is indicated as red. So these application files are being tracked by Git, but they are not yet committed to a central repository or to the local environment that you may want to be committing to. So in order to do that, I showed you some shortcut that you can use. Let's just do that in the next lecture so that we can continue developing our application to be a fully featured application. Note here, I'll be a bit faster in terms of doing all these things because we have already done it the first time. So bear with me about the speed. We're now going full stack development, and we are going to be fast. See you in the next lecture. or any question if there is any. So guys, also note here at the application bar that you selected the contract farming application, where Spring Boot is sort of your main function where your application runs from. So if you don't have this main function, then it means in Java you can't execute your application. So the Spring Boot, it is annotated as Spring Boot application. It's used by Spring to note that, okay, this is a Spring Boot application. So application starting, running, they need to go into main, then main will invoke any other package that you may try to insert in this application. So perfectly fine. I don't know, you guys, if you have any questions.